Hi everyone, Crista Cowan here with another episode of The Barefoot Genealogist. Today's topic is going to be short and sweet. We're talking about member profiles. If you have an account on Ancestry.com, whether you're a paid subscriber or not, you have a member profile, which also means that the millions of other subscribers and users of Ancestry.com also have a profile. And a very small percentage of people actually do anything with their profile. So today what we're going to talk about is how to make your profile useful. And the more we talk about it, hopefully the more people will do it. And then that becomes this really useful research tool as well. So we're just going to dive right in. And like I said, it won't be very long today because it's a fairly simple topic. But afterwards, if you're watching this live, feel free to join me on chat on livestream.com/ancestry and ask any questions that you have about your genealogy or about today's topic in particular. Here we go. So you're going to find your member profile. The easiest place to find it is going to be under the Collaborate tab on Ancestry.com, and then there's a link there for Public Profile. You're going to want to go ahead and click that. There are a couple of other places you can find it, but we'll just stick with this one for today. So under Collaborate, the very bottom option here is going to be your Public Profile. Now you're going to see here that one of the things that I have done is I have uploaded a picture. Now granted, that picture was about 10 years and 100 pounds ago, but that's not the point. The point is that I have a picture there. If you don't, you can actually add one. Just you look for a picture that you have on your computer specifically. So I could come in here and I could add the picture that is my profile picture for these live streams, the Barefoot Genealogist picture. I can go ahead and click Save, and you'll notice after it refreshes here, now it's changed that picture. So the key here is that it doesn't really matter what picture you have, just put a picture in there. Lots of studies have been done, not just on Ancestry.com, but across social media in general, and it shows that profiles that have pictures get an 80% higher response rate, or that many more people will look at the profile, possibly even contact the profile owner. So go ahead and put that in there. Then you can also edit whatever information you want. So you probably have an Ancestry.com username. Now my Ancestry.com username is my name. Yours may not be. So you can make the decision if you want it just to be your Ancestry username that displays, or if you want your actual name to display. That's a decision entirely up to you. And then you can choose if you want to put in your location. Now I've put in the very specific city that I happen to live in. If you're more comfortable just putting in a state or putting in a metropolitan area, that's fine. Or you can leave it blank. Totally up to you. You can share as much or as little information here as you want. And then of course, if you want to fill in any information, I've filled in information here about what my specialties are, which are descendancy research and Jewish immigration and sharing family history or teaching family history, also some of my experience in genealogy. So that's what I've chosen to put in this description area next to my photo. Now if you scroll down, here's where some of the really exciting information is going to be. So right here on the right hand side, you're going to see how long I've been a member of Ancestry.com. So that will give you an idea as you're looking at other people's profiles, how long their account has been active or how long they've been doing genealogy. It will also tell you when they last signed in. So in my case, of course, it's today. So you know if it's an active account or not, if this is somebody who's using Ancestry daily or weekly, or if they haven't been online for 6 months or longer. And then you can also see, of course, when the profile was last updated. This information in this top box is not editable. This is information that Ancestry.com just keeps attached or associated with your account. Now we get into stuff that is fully editable. And in every section here, you're just going to see a little pencil over here on the right. And I'm sorry for those of you who are a little more technologically savvy if this seems really basic, but I just want to make sure that everybody has the information they need to be able to update this. And sometimes this step-by-step is a little bit useful. So anytime you see one of these little pencils, you can click on that and you can edit that section of information. So in my case, I've put my age range. I've I've put that I'm employed and the occupation I'm employed in. You might want to add languages, especially if you speak a foreign language. I always get emails from people who are looking for somebody who's a genealogist who speaks German, or somebody who does genealogy who speaks Swedish or whatever. And so if you have other languages, even if you're not fluent in that language, if you have language skills that would assist in genealogy, that's certainly something worth adding. And then you can add lineages. So in my case, I've added Northern European and British Isles because that's where the majority of my lineage comes in. There are several other options here. And if you've taken our DNA test recently, maybe you can update that with one or two more. You can add as many of those as you feel to add. And then we ask for religious preference or religion because a lot of times people have information or experience in church records depending on the denomination that they're familiar with. And so, if I was Catholic, I could add Catholic and know that I have experience in those kinds of records. So it's just another option specifically for genealogical experience. Now, I can click Save right here and then go through each of these sections one at a time. Or you may have noticed when I was on this Edit tab that there's actually little tabs across the top. And so I can click through those like this as well. So the next section is going to be my family history experience. So in my case, I'm a professional genealogist, but you can put beginner or intermediate or advanced. It's totally a self-selected thing. And then how long you've been researching, when you started researching family history. In my case, it was shortly before I turned 12, the year I turned 12, when I really got serious about it. I'd been exposed to it by my parents and aunts and uncles and people for my whole life, but that was when I started doing research on my own. And then how often you research. Is this, you may be a beginner who does this every day, in which case you're going to gain some new skills very quickly, or you may be an advanced researcher who only does this, once or twice a month. So you make those decisions. Again, it's just information. And I'll show you why all this information is important in a minute. Okay. Then the next section is going to be websites, and you can decide if you want to share. So I actually have a website that I've listed there. I also have, I talked a few weeks ago about creating Facebook groups for descendancies. So picking a common ancestor, researching all their descendants. I believe it was a webinar that you can find in our Learning Center. And so I've actually linked here to one of the Facebook pages for one of the families that I'm interested in. So people can click on that and it will actually, it had to refresh. It will actually take them to the page for that particular project. Okay, so that's the information that you can edit over here. Now, the other section here that is, again, uneditable, this bottom section here, if you're a member of our World Archives community, which is our community indexing project, it'll list how that you're a member and then how many records you've keyed and arbitrated. And I think if you've done it within the last 90 days, which you can clearly see I have not, it'll list the last 90 days as well as the lifetime. And then if you're not a member of the World Archives Project, you can learn more about it from there. So that's this right-hand bar over here. Now let's look at this center section, because this is where the real meaty stuff is. So this top section here is what you are, whether or not you're willing to help other Ancestry members. And so we have this huge community of people. And one of the things I love about genealogy is that this community of people are so generous. I haven't found that in any other industry that I've ever been involved in, where people are just so generous with their time and their skills and their knowledge. And so one of the things you can do is to give back to that community is you can come in here and just check this box that you're able to help other Ancestry members, and then what you're willing to do. And so one of the reasons you might want to include your location or a metropolitan area close to you is because maybe you're available to go get records, right? So maybe there's a courthouse or a library or a genealogical society that's close to where you live. So you can just check this, that you're available to retrieve records from that place. And what happens is, as more and more people start doing this, we end up with this whole resource in this community of people who can go to archives in places where we don't happen to live. And the law of genealogy karma that comes into play says that, whatever you put out there, you're going to find somebody that's willing to help you in return. So retrieving a record is one of the options. Looking up and copying a document from a local library. taking pictures of tombstones from a local cemetery, and I know many of you already do this as part of the Find a Grave project, and here's just another avenue to put out there that you're available and willing to do this in the area where you live. Taking pictures of local buildings or other landmarks. I actually just got back last night from Los Angeles, and my grandmother lives there. She turns 90 this year, and so I'm trying to spend as much time as possible with her in the last few years. And my dad came for the weekend for Father's Day, and we actually went and visited a couple of cemeteries, and I took a picture of the house. My grandmother's lived in that same house since my dad was 5. And then we started talking about the house that they lived in when my dad was born. And I realized I don't have any pictures of that. And so we didn't get down there, but maybe I could have somebody go and take a picture of that home for me, because it is still standing. Anyway, so the ability to be able to do that in your local area for people who want that kind of a service. You can offer advice about research if you have that skill, or if you have a language skill, you can translate or offer translation help for documents. So those are the options there under what you're willing to do or able to do to help other members. And then my favorite section probably is this research interests section. So what this is you just add names, like a surname, and where they lived, and it could be a whole slew of places. So, for example, I have Jones family that was originally from, let's see, Hawkins County, Tennessee. And so I could put the Joneses from Hawkins County, Tennessee. I could put in a year range if I wanted. I know they were there in the late 1700s. I know that there are actually still, part of the Jones family is still there, so I could put that through this year if I wanted. And then I could put in information. So for example, in this particular family, I happen to know that Daniel Jones, who was a Revolutionary War soldier, he lived there. Lived in Hawkins County. Many descendants live there today. Whatever you want to put in this field, I'm trying to find them all because I do that, because I'm a little bit crazy. I trace descendants. Anyway, so you can put whatever you want in that field that will help people understand exactly what it is that you're looking for. It's useful, and I didn't do this here, but I probably would go back and edit this with the years of his birth and his death. The more specific you can be, the more likely people are to look at that and say, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for, and contact you. And then just make sure that you've got this show this research interest checked. We do have the ability to keep that private if you want to keep that private, just as kind of a bookmarking system for yourself. But the real power of this is in sharing it with others so that other people can see it. And again, I'll show you how that works. So you see I've got a couple of others added here. This Shipman one, I've listed Germany, Virginia, North Carolina, and Kentucky because that was the migration pattern of the first, the immigrant member of this family. And then this year range is actually his lifespan. So 1715 to 1798 is the lifespan of the person who I'm looking for, the descendants of. And then of course I've got that link to that Facebook page again in case people didn't see it on my profile. So you can add as many of these as you want, and it's just another way for people to find you. So specifically for those of you who don't have public trees and want to make this information known so that other researchers can contact you, or if you've got a brick wall, it's just another avenue to plug in there so that other people can contact you. Now, once you've edited your profile and got it the way that you think you like it, you can actually click the switch to public view button, and it'll show you what everyone else will see when they come on your page. So you'll notice the little pencils go away, and the blank fields just get stripped out, and it kind of just makes it a little bit more compact. Also, if you've marked anything private in your research interests, then they won't show up on that particular list. So that's how that profile works when you're editing it. Now here's how this works when you want to search the member directory. So first you need to make sure you go under Collaborate, go to the public profile, upload a picture, because accounts with pictures for whatever reason tend to get more attention, and then update. If you update nothing else, update that research interests section with the surnames and the year ranges and the locations that you're looking for. It's kind of like the old genealogy magazines. If you remember those, in the very back of the magazine, there was usually just like a classified listing of surnames and places and dates. And people got contacted all the time from those kinds of advertisements or that kind of a listing. And this is just a modern or a technological way to do that. So when you're ready to start searching the member directory, you're going to find it under the Collaborate tab, and I actually wrote the wrong thing there. It's not going to be under Public Profile, it's going to be under Member Directory. And you have a few options, a few different ways to search, and I'll just walk through those really quickly so you can see how that works. So under the Collaborate tab, it's this Member Directory. So Public Profile is where we just were. Now we're going to go into the Member Directory. You'll see here that there are a few different ways you can search. So you can search by research interests, because that's the way that we find most people search. You can search by basic information, and I'll show you that here, or you can search by experience. Let's actually start with that one. I get questions all the time about professional genealogists. You know, can I find a professional genealogist who does this, that, or the other thing? Now, you may not have noticed, but we have this Hire an Expert button up here, and Ancestry.com does have a professional research arm, pro genealogists, and you can contact them through that button. You also have the option here of just selecting professional, clicking search, and it'll tell you that currently we have 2,500 members who have self-identified as professional genealogy researchers, and you can see how long they've been a member of Ancestry.com and when they last logged in. So several people have logged in today or within the last week. You know, I could go through 2 or 3. You can see really quickly only a few people have photos, and for whatever reason that draws your attention, I could click on one of those. It will tell me kind of a little note card thing here of a snippet of her profile, and then there's this little link right here that says View Profile. I can click on that and view her full profile, which includes her description about her experiences and herself. It includes information about her research names and locations. She hasn't chosen to include date ranges over here. You can see here she also has linked to, and this comes up if you have a public tree, it will have a link to your public tree. She also has favorited some of our message boards, some of our surname message boards, and so you can see that. And then you'll see here she has actually posted on several message boards, so I can click on that to see what posts she has made. And specifically if they're pertinent to some of these surnames and I might be interested in them. If I was interested in contacting her, there's this big orange contact button up here on the top right of her profile. I can click that. What that does is it actually creates, it sends messages internally through Ancestry.com. So we do not share your email address with the other person, nor do we share theirs with you. What we do is you put in a subject and type in whatever you want in this message, and then Ancestry.com serves as a broker of that email. Those email messages or those Ancestry messages are going to show up here. There's this little envelope up here. You can see I have 9 messages. I go through these once a week, and I still somehow always end up with more messages. And part of them come through my profile, not just through my trees. So you can contact them back and forth, and then if you choose to share your email, you would actually have to physically type it into the message to share that with them if you want to take that communication offline. So that's how that works. So let's go back to this member directory, just a couple of more ways you can search so that you're familiar with how it's going to look. So for example, if I was interested in other people researching the Jones family from Tennessee, I could come in here and type in Jones and Tennessee, and you'll see I get 82 people who have listed that as a research interest. And so I can skim through this list and I can say, you know what, this person hasn't logged in for over a year, neither has this person, neither has this person. So those are likely not people that I'm going to contact. But this woman, she has been a member on Ancestry since 2000. She logged in yesterday. She has a picture, right? So maybe there's some information she knows. And I just can go through this these search results, and again, what I'm looking at are search results of other members of Ancestry.com who may be researching the same things I'm researching, and I can contact them and initiate that. I also, so that's research interests. I also can search by basic information. So maybe you're just looking for other researchers in your area, other people who might be doing genealogy, other people who might be able to help with research. So I can just come in here and say, you know what, I want to see everybody who has said that they live in or near Utah, and maybe I want to start a genealogy club, or maybe I want to see if somebody's going up to the family history library in Salt Lake that can do a lookup for me, something like that. So those are all options, and then of course when I find one of these and click on it, I can come and view their profile, and it will tell me what their experience is, if they've got trees, what their message boards are. She lists herself as a beginner. That's great. But if she had offered to help do things, I can see that as well. So that's how the member directory worked. I warned you today was going to be very simple and basic. It's one of those things that is a really powerful tool. Like I said, I had 9 messages there. I haven't looked at them this week. I usually try to do that on Fridays, but I was out of the office this last Friday, and so I didn't. But I usually get, 5 or 6 messages from my trees, like people who found my family tree and are, because they connected with someone in the tree and they want to know more about what I know, and so they'll send me a message. The other 2 or 3 messages I get are generally from my profile. They've searched me out because I am looking for a specific surname, or because I have a certain level of research experience. So update your profile, and then use that member directory and maybe reach out. Like I said, genealogists tend to be one of the most collaborative and helpful communities of people that I have ever been involved in. And one of the challenges of family history is that it sometimes feels like a really isolationist hobby. We end up in these, we end up sitting in front of our computer looking through, databases and searching till we're bleary-eyed at 2 and 3 in the morning. Don't say you haven't done it, because I have, and I don't want to think that I'm alone in that. But sometimes we feel a little bit alone when we're doing research, and the reality is that we're not. There are hundreds and hundreds of people who descend from some of the same ancestors we descend from. As a matter of fact, just this last week, I went and visited an old college roommate. I think we decided we hadn't seen each other in about 14 years, and about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, we actually had discovered that we were 5th cousins. We have a common 3rd great-grandfather, and so while I was at her home this last week in California, I had the opportunity to share with her some of the things that I had learned about him, and she got all excited about it and wanted to know more. And we probably, we only visited for about 2 hours, but I'd say about half of that time was spent talking about this common ancestry of ours. So there are people out there who share our heritage, who share that interest, and this is just another way to find them, to connect with those people, to further our research, and to just share some of the things that we're finding. So that's all I have for you today. If you have a topic that you would like to have discussed in one of our broadcasts, I'm actually putting together the July calendar this week, at the end of the week, and so please email at ask@ancestry.com if you have specific research questions or challenges. We use those emails specifically to create presentations like this that will help you solve your challenges or answer those genealogy questions. And then you can always check the Ancestry.com Facebook page. If you click on the little expand link to see all of the tabs, if you go to the events tab, we have a list of a full schedule of everything we have scheduled out for the future live stream presentations, so that you can RSVP to get a reminder and join us next time. Until next time, this is Crista Cowan. Have fun climbing your family tree.